All right. Looks like we're live or supposed to be live, but I'm not sure what the computer is telling me today. That's not a good number. What is up with that? Give me a second here. We roll this up, refresh this page. That didn't look current. That doesn't look much better. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to Monday. That's how you're doing. It's that good. Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna send out a couple links. Get this started. Live looking on your weather. Looks like out east, you guys are overwhelmed once again. That's some pretty angry looking weather through the Midwest, even Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Yellow and red. That makes me think of tornadoes. That doesn't look like that would be good. So you all stay out of trouble out there. Get your high waters on. Pack your sandbags if you need to. We are dry out here. That's probably an understatement. As half the West is burning down, it seems like. So can you all see the screen fine? Because my feedback loop is not showing good numbers, and I don't know why. So as long as you guys can see, you've already said you can hear. Hey, Walter, thanks for joining us. Scotsman's with us. Jeremiah Johnson, good morning. Throwing it up in the side chat. I've got probably bitten off more than I can chew this morning on my links, but we'll roll through them and see what happens. Our situation out here seems to be getting more perilous as the days go on. Um, we've got this large fire up here in Redding, California. It's now had 6 deaths. Just doesn't get. There's no good news that comes out of there. It doesn't seem like. Let's pull up this video and check out some of the visuals. There we go. Hey, Sly Tiger, good morning. What's going on out there in El Paso Way? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for checking in. Looks like they're starting to backfire here. Using this road as a fire block and then using the fire as well and burning up into the current location. All right, so that's that video. That wasn't nearly as impressive as I was thinking it might be. But there are some pretty epic videos out there of what's going on up there with the Firenados and all kinds of other stuff. They're using the largest tanker, airborne tanker. I think there is. It's a 747. It's just newly developed, and this is the first fire it's been on. They got that going on out there. There's some pretty awesome pictures that are going on out there as well. If you find a picture, there's 247 in this link. It's pretty much rolled into separate neighborhoods. It's no joke. Hey, good morning, Poison Stingers with us. Good morning. What's going on down your way? I'm sure you're hot just like we are. RG Homestead, thanks for joining us. Good morning. You're getting monsoons. You and else Poison Stinger going to have to ride the monsoons out together. Yeah, Sly Tiger, you've been out there when they have those fires, right? Is there a way I can blow these up? Oh, there we go. Sly Tiger, you're moving back up this way? Maybe Oregon? Is that job opportunities or is that something else? And I don't know where the I don't know on if you go to I think it's Cal Fire on Twitter. This is the only place I found it. They've got a picture of the rig that started this whole fire. I guess some tourist in their fifth wheel, in their big toy hauling fifth wheel, had a flat tire that they drove down the road for 8 miles dragging sparks. I guess the people were calling the cops on them and everything. And that's the sparks from that tire was what started the fire, is what they're saying. There's pictures of that on. I saw them on Twitter. Of I don't know if it may have been CHP, but I think it was Cal Fire that had it on there. People were fairly irate about that, giving them the business about the restitution that they would need to owe. A.M. Long, good morning. It's like you're getting inundated out your way with just a little bit of water, but we was going through the pictures of the Redding fire up here, the car fire as they're calling it. I don't know if that's car because it was a car that started it, or if the guy's name was Carr. I'm not sure why they're calling it Carr. The guy that on the fifth wheel, I don't know if his name was Carr or not. Texas is getting Californified. Well, Sly Tiger, if you want to stay away from Californication, stay out of Oregon. I mean, actually, it's just like Nevada. The Californians primarily go to Vegas. In Oregon, they primarily go to Western Oregon. So if you go to Eastern Oregon, that's the trade off. You're still going the influence at the state level politically is what you got to worry about, which is the problem. You can do it. Good morning. How's it going? You know what? I've got to check out your garden video you did. I didn't get to check on it yesterday. I saw it and got sidetracked. I got to get over there and check that out. I did take note of it. Yeah, that's some of the opinions. Sly Tiger, Skull Drag. Yeah, some of the opinions of people are a little bit more severe than that, I guess you could say. A lot of people wouldn't give him that much of a pass. All right. Anyway, that's a lot of your pictures from Redding, and they're in the link below. There's 200 and some odd of them. So there's kind of the impacted area burned into Redding. I'm pretty sure they no doubt were concerned that it would jump this river here. But moving on, we had a fire spark up in Reno as well. Yes, Saturday night. I was going to check it out. Fortunately, all this smoke stayed north of us. That was from the weather station up there. It's at 25,000 acres. It's just near Pyramid Lake up north. 15% contained, it says. So it's a lot of wild land area, not nearly as many structures or neighborhoods up near that way. So everything's burning out here out west, while you people back in the east get flooded. Like on the daily now, it seems like everybody. Irish is bailing out his basement. And he briefed us on, "Hey, what's up, Irish?" He pops in right on cue. Pretty much everybody out that way has got water inundation somewhere. So we worked it out. If you didn't get them notice, we're doing email exchanges. Everybody on the east is emailing their water to people in the west. It'll be a good trade-off, right? It's the best plane I could come up with. I was trying to work on a pipeline for years, but nobody would invest in that. So where to? Hey, JJ, what's up? How you doing this morning? Thanks for joining us. Looks like you might be avoiding a little bit of the rain up your way. It looks like it's staying south of you, so that might give you a little bit of a break. Okay, Poison, you don't have to accept the emails. I'll take them. All right? You and your monsoons, we'll take the water up here. So today's sign of the apocalypse, or about as close as I could get to it. The British are calling in the army. and this was linked on another site as well. I put on the G Plus yesterday. So they're making army plans for basically civil collapse if Brexit doesn't go well for them. They're concerned about a hard Brexit with no trade plan, that people are going to be starving in the streets. I would call that a fear-mongering tactic, because they are trying to avoid Brexit at all costs at the upper levels of the politics that go on out there, is what I would say. So as I say here, scaremongering around Brexit is escalating among the cause I don't know what that means. Cognoscentry or desperate remain told you soers. Yeah, it's a bunch of fear mongering they're trying to put out there. So the British Sunday Times reported UK ministers have drawn up plans to send the army to deliver food, medicine, and fuel in event of shortages if Britain crashes out of the EU without a deal. Because they're trying to do the soft Brexit, which nobody's behind, because basically soft Brexit puts the UK under the EU's thumb, and it's not really an exit; it's an enslavement. So people are fighting back against that. So now they're fear mongering. Well, if we go the hard way, but we'll move on here. Blueprints for the armed forces to assist the civilian authorities, usually used only in civil emergencies, have been dusted off as part of the no deal planning, with helicopters, trucks used to ferry supplies to vulnerable people outside the southeast who are struggling to obtain the medicines they need. So the assumption is if you're in the London area, you'll be fine. The vulnerable people are the ones in the outside. This is straight out of 1984. So they're trying to make it feel good for all the people who really are hardline Brexit, that they're going to be the ones suffering, as the elite in the urban areas are doing just fine. Like that's the way it works. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all know that's not how it works. However, as ominous as this sounds, the Sunday Times admits a number of paragraphs into their, quote, army on standby for no deal Brexit emergency story, that a source inside the Ministry of Defense said they have not yet received a formal request to assist the civilian authorities. Well, right, of course they haven't. This is still like, what are we, 8 months away still before a hardline exit is scheduled? And while desperate not to have this positioned as the work of Project Fear, pro-EU opposition MP David Lammy took aim at the news on Twitter, saying, "God help us, this is not coming for Remainers. This is not Project Fear. Pro-Brexit ministers are drawing up blueprints for the army to deliver food, fuel, and medicine if we leave the EU with no deal," adding his own touch of hysteria. "We have a duty to prevent this self-immolation." There's a tweet there on the screen, and another tweet. Former Brexit Secretary David Davis, who resigned from the position over his dissatisfaction with a possible soft Brexit deal, dismissed the story as an attempt to scare people in order to secure a free trade agreement, which will tank the economy. And that's his link to his tweet there. So they're going at it, trying to fear and scaremonger each other over the whole secession of Britain from the EU, which was supposed to be just a trade union many decades ago and has turned into pretty much German tyranny over the rest of the continent, which they tried to avoid in World War II. It's like they fought World War II for a reason, and they joined the EU and let the Germans run everything. Doesn't make no sense. So that's your story with the EU potential breakup. They're fighting at all costs to scare people into having them stay there. What we got going on the side chat? Everybody showed up today. It's like a full house. Poison Stinger, JJ. Right, JJ? London will be the ones bad off. They're trying to make it sound in the store, or the Remain people trying to make everybody sound like London will be fine, and the surrounding suburbs, it's the ones outside the southeast that'll be suffering, when that's not usually the way it works in collapsing economies. The urban places show the pain first, if not foremost. So that's going to continue, I'm sure. Their prime minister, May, is dealing with trying to convince everybody to go with her plan, which she kind of said my way or the highway last month. We'll see if she's changed her tune any, because she's a Remainer. She doesn't want to go anywhere. All these people want to stay under the thumb of the elites. All right, so moving on to evaluation of further collapsing societies study. The South African situation. This is the only current of the more recent article from yesterday out of South Africa, with their tyrannical leader trying to calm everybody, saying whites shouldn't be concerned about land reform. So what kind of mind games is he trying to play here? Like, he really thinks he can convince people that he's not just stealing their land. That seems to be his angle. But he has called on them, to white South Africans, to embrace land reform. I think he's trying to throw a little bit of white guilt at them. As you can see, if you've seen the videos, that some of the documentaries that come out of South Africa, this militant group that wears the red berets, straight up communist symbolism going on over there. But the economic freedom fighters, Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema, has told whites not to shy away from the land debate, that land reform will liberate white South Africans from themselves. Let that sink in for a moment. Where have we heard people say this will? Isn't that like Arbot Mike Fry? That's like, wasn't that over some gates somewhere or something? It's some serious doublethink going on with that. So the leader's comments came at the time of celebration for the economic freedom fighters. The Red political party celebrated its 5-year anniversary, and yada yada. And so this was at a rally at the stadium, it looks like, in the Eastern Cape on Saturday, which is part of the reason people of Good Hope are seceding and saying, take your communism with you. The revolutionary leader addressed issues of land expropriation without compensation and its effect on both black and white South Africans. It's a key thing to remember. They're stealing black people's land too. This land debate is going to liberate you, Malema tells whites. The red beret donning leader told whites not to be scared of the land debate, that although they are scared of change, they will be liberated from fear once the land is returned to black South Africans. Malema argued that whites knew they were wrong. That's why they live in fear of retribution. Quote, saying, I want to make a clarion call to fellow white South Africans. Don't be scared of the land debate, because the land debate is going to liberate you from yourselves. You're scared you will be attacked tomorrow. Who will attack you? For what? You know you have done something wrong. Well, the people that are currently occupying it have not. And there's well documented that the Boers, who are the biggest target of this issue, came into their land acquisitions through trade with the tribes, who are also being persecuted in this deal. And a lot of this is out in the west and the north, outside of these urban center cesspools that they're getting all the support for this for. There's some pretty good documentaries out there. Farmland is a good documentary, and there's another one that I posted in the chat a couple weeks ago. Can't remember the name of it. They did that talked about the issues and demonstrating somewhat that the boers are not the problem, but they're taking the biggest brunt of this land reform and these current attacks. There's a Twitter channel. I don't know. They call them Twitter account. I don't know. What do they call them? Anyway, there's somebody on Twitter that's documenting all the different attacks in South Africa as they happen on these farms. And it's pretty much daily a couple of different stories of this person was attacked on their farm. This is the results, and he's just documenting it as this moves forward because nobody else is reporting on it. Essentially, that the government is turning a blind eye to help scare these people off their land, and it makes their job easier in the long run. Right, JJ's got it right. They will remove the farmers, and the stupid commies will starve to death. At least Russia's giving them a place to, yeah, we talked about that last week. They had at least 50 families, 50 Boer families are going to move into Russia. But yeah, the communists just think, and that's documented in that one documentary. They even talk to these new farmers they just don't have the training to manage the large farms. The guy that managed it gave it up willingly, even, and stays around to help train them, but they still don't have the expertise to keep it running the way it did before. They're not nearly as productive. It's been a noticeable, precipitous drop off of food production and everything else on a lot of these farms that have been turned over. So moving on down. Collapse the high walls. The EFF leader urged white South Africans to collapse the high walls protecting them and release the land in doing so. Yeah, I saw some of the video of one of the farmers. They've got a full on, I mean, it's electric fence that's like something to think of Jurassic Park electric fence. It's like 10 feet high plus, you know? It is an extreme situation that they're putting out there for some of these places. So here's the quote. Commenting on crime and fear affecting affluent areas, Malema said, "We are breaking into your houses because we have nothing to do, because we are idling. Give us the land. You shall know a permanent peace." So that's a quote from the leader of the communist South Africans. We are breaking into your houses because we have nothing to do. Are you kidding me? So that's their line. That's how they're pitching this. If you give us, we'll all be at peace when you give us your means of production. It doesn't get much worse than that, descriptive wise. Hey, can you guys, Rooster, are you talking? You guys can't hear me? I don't know what the issues are today. Was that dead air just me taking a pause, or you guys can't hear me? This is disturbing. All right, JJ's got me. Rooster had a hard time the other day. I don't know if it was him. I turned up the volume on this end, but I don't know what the issue is. I am showing that I'm having issues, but everybody said I'm up so far today. Anyway, all right, we'll push on. But so that's the South African madness. Oh, sorry, Rooster. I'll try to no pauses, no coffee sips. I can't take a break. Got it. Rooster's driving a tough shift around here. Gotta get in while I can. So that situation is not going to get better as long as people are talking like that. The only way for peace is to give us the land, essentially, and that's all that's coming. We've talked about the secession movements to push back, which are blacks and whites working together, tribal people working together. But this red wave, this communist ideology that's getting pushed, and this mentality it's working these people into, this is the rally, is really, that's the dangerous, the fear of the horde, right? That's the ones that are going to be doing all the dirty work for these people, and they're going to get worked into a frenzy, and they're going out and doing these deeds out, in the dark of night, and doing the government's dirty work for them, only in the long run to know that they're probably going to be the ones that get starved out as well. Because, like we said, once they can't replace these farmers, they're not going to be able to feed themselves. It's going to get really bad. Rooster. Yeah, JJ, I don't think I think there's still a lot of denial among South African farmers that some want to work it out, and they're getting these attacks and they're not ready. They kind of get prepared after the fact. It seems like in that documentary, there are basically some neighborhood watch set up, but they're such large areas. These are huge farms, hundreds and hundreds of acres. I would think, like, you think of Texas or Oklahoma or something, huge tracts of land that it's hard to check and patrol and secure your perimeter, because basically you can drive in from all kinds of different angles, because there is open country out there, and the people, it's just too easy to get them targets, and it doesn't sound like, and it's just one of those things, it's easy to be caught off guard when you can only remain vigilant when it's you and your wife or maybe a couple kids or something. You can only remain vigilant for so long. That goes into, your whole planning, preparedness, your bug-in scenarios, how could it would be very difficult. And you think of these places in rural South Africa where there's still full services and fully, they still have phone, internet, and everything, that you could set up a communication network, and just, you would be able to identify vehicles and things that are out of the area and communicate with each other. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like they've put that type of stuff together yet. They need to. This one documentary that showed the basically community watch folks going around, I mean, they were only armed with pistols from what I could tell. I didn't see anything more substantial. That's a problem. You need a little bit more, especially out there when you're, it's just like the problem we have in South Texas and places with these ranches getting overrun by drug mules and everything else who are afraid to go out of their houses at night. It's a similar situation. You can't defend, but it's even harder if you can't defend 24/7. You work a farm all day. Providing security all night is not exactly what you're working on doing. They talked about one raid where they even, this is a farm that has a bunch of helper workers on the land, so they have sounds like a bunkhouse. They got raided, beat down all the workers, chased them off, stuff like that. People that actually had a job, they're chasing them off. So it's a very bad situation. And you good, like I was talking about last week, use these examples to think through your preparedness plans. If SHTF happens, which it is happening, especially there, it's happening. Watch it as it happens elsewhere to learn more about how it could transpire here and the issues they're having. And that's some of the takeaways I have is security is going to be a big problem, especially, but take advantage of the things you can. You know, they need a better communications network to identify these people coming in. You know, it doesn't sound like the police are helping out. They do have these patrols, but how are they communicating? You know, they have radio, but are they not able to set up some kind of text message, you know, communication group that would be almost instantaneous? I'm not sure there's cell phone coverage, but you know what I'm saying. There's all these different ways to do it that seem to be not getting done because, like I said, you can go on that. If I could find that guy's name on Twitter, it's just day after day of attack after attack. It's just like, man, it's usually attacking older people. It's not, of course, on the young. I know I've got a recent tweet out here in the last day or so. Let me scroll down and try to find it. Hey, Food Forest has joined us. How you doing, FFP? Hope you're having a good time up there. I didn't see a Juice video this weekend. Did I miss it? Did you have a live stream this weekend? Yeah, straight up, JJ. Sending weapons and supplies to these people would be a lot better productive than sending it to the Ukraine, which the Ukraine is just about getting control of people. It's the only reason we were trying to get to Ukraine. Ham radios. Yeah, there's all kinds of options, JJ. When you're talking local, when you're talking within a neighborhood, county or something, a ham's not even, you don't even need that level. So here's the guy on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, I know some of you are, some of you follow me, but it's Ian Cameron, and I've retweeted him yesterday, it looks like. But it's at Ian Cameron 23. And pretty much he just tweets out every attack and this is kind of the results of it. Like yesterday, there was a fire started and it's kind of a riot situation that he's documented. I guess there's some issues and there's things like that. And then like there was a farm attack on Saturday. Documents that 81-year-old male attacked, assaulted, stabbed, firearm and cell phone taken, etc. So that's a pretty interesting Twitter account to follow. Rooster, I met a white South African guy last year. He said he's not going back, illegal or not. He said he has a younger daughter. I don't blame him a bit. Yeah, right. That'd be interesting. I guess he probably just had a visa and probably just overstayed his visa. Usually, in most cases, that's what happens to a lot of people like that. Unless, well, like Food Forest, yeah, ship full of aliens trying to get on Vancouver Island, round them up, and they get shipped back to China. Yeah, we've talked about that a couple months ago, and somebody was talking about it wasn't you, it was somebody else talking about the Vancouver problems, and basically it was like a small Chinatown or a big Chinatown. And yeah, I think it was maybe Stan Ulch was telling us about and all of the refugee problems they're having out east in Toronto and his way, because everybody's trying to shift away from Vancouver and that onrush of people, and it's causing those problems because of those illegals, essentially. Okay, yeah, no problem, Food Forest. I just didn't know if I missed something. Those are always a good time. You get to show off your prowess. All right, folks, kind of coming to the wrapping it up. Thanks for joining us. Looks like we had quite the crew in here. A lot of good comments. Thanks for everybody coming in, checking in on this Monday. You got weather in your area. Well, pretty much everywhere east of Denver is getting rained on, flooding, potential tornadoes, maybe. So y'all stay safe, stay out of the fires out here out west. Be vigilant, like this Redding situation just sparks up in a minute because somebody else's carelessness. Carry a fire extinguisher for yourself. Alone can help resolve some of that. I wouldn't doubt that somebody pulled over the road and did try to put out some of that fire, but 8 miles of somebody throwing sparks is a long way to try to deal with. All right, so y'all have a good day. Get through the Monday as you need to. We'll see you back here on Wednesday or anywhere else out there on the YouTube interwebs over the next day or so. All right, y'all have a good one. Live free.